This is the story time when I lost my V card to my high school crush, aka the entire school's crush, so don't miss out on any details. It's a Sunday afternoon and my boy best friend, who happens to be my secret crush, and I have been sending playful TikToks back and forth. We have this inside joke where we send each other funny videos, but deep down, we both know there's something more behind them. He sends me one of those TikToks where it starts with a joke, but when I keep scrolling, it reveals a flirty message. If you know what I mean. Can't help but smirk, but the excitement fades quickly as I remember he's just joking. Anyways, we continue exchanging videos throughout the night, and it's already 2 in the morning. He finally sends me a text saying, "Good night, love you." But my heart sinks as I realize it's just friendly. I responded with, "Love you too, good night." So I wake up a little later than usual and realize I'm running late for school. But guess what? My little sister June is hogging the only toilet in the house for 20 minutes. I start screaming and banging on the door till she finally opens the door saying,
"Jesus, calm down."
I quickly get ready and rush to school to meet my best friend at the park. As we're walking, I can't stop talking about him and how we were messaging each other last night. He's the only person I've told about my crush. I keep going on about how we have double Spanish class together, and that's my favorite part of the day. The teacher is hardly ever there, so most of the time we have a substitute who just sits there and tells us to do a worksheet. But honestly, they don't really care as long as we stay in our seats. And you know what? I'm totally fine with that because it means I get to sit next to him. So I walk to school and go to my first boring class, then my second boring class, which is math. During the break, I meet my best friend outside the doors and we walk around the school so we don't look like stalkers. As I walk past him, he grabs me by the neck and says,
"See you in Spanish."
"Yeah, see ya." But then I start freaking out, thinking I said something dumb. My best friend calms me down and questions why I'm so madly in love with him, considering he's popular and we're just side characters in his story. I defend him, saying he has a good personality. My best friend whines and doesn't believe me. I can't even imagine how lucky I am that he talked to me. He's one of the most popular boys in school, so you might be wondering how we actually first met and got in contact. Well, we actually had the same summer job last summer and spent a lot of time together during that summer break. But it was mostly at that job. We exchanged numbers, and although I didn't have feelings for him back then, they grew as we started school again. However, he had a girlfriend at that time, so I knew he didn't feel the same way, but lucky me, they broke up 1 month ago. The bell rings for my favorite class, which is with him. I rush through the crowd to get to my class, and he's already chilling on his desk. When he sees me walking in, he quickly sits up straight and moves his chair to let me pass. He asks me how my weekend was, and I reply with a smirk, mentioning that the messages last night were something. I find myself staring into his beautiful eyes, perfect smile, and amazed on how he can hold eye contact.
"You aight?"
I snap back to reality when the Spanish teacher walks in, switches some worksheets, and says, "You know the drill." So I get up to take the paper like everyone else while he is still sitting.
"Hey, could you get me one too, please?"
"Sure." I pick up 2 and head back to my seat, but he won't move his chair in, so I ask him to move it.
"You want me to move all right, beg for it?"
My face goes bright red, hoping that nobody heard that. "Are you kidding me right now?"
"No, say it."
"Please let me pass." With a smirk, he lets me pass. As I bend over to give him his paper, he puts his hand on my lower waist and whispers in my ear, "Good girl." Gladly, we are at the back and in the corner of the class, so no one saw. The class continues, and I am still extremely in shock. Minutes after, we get to watch a movie, and during the movie, I can feel his leg slightly touching mine under the table, but I don't move it. All of a sudden, I can feel his cold hands start trailing up my thighs and under my skirt. The movie stops, and the teacher asked if I was okay. "Yeah, I just need a drink." So I reach into my bag as everyone else turns their head back to watching the movie, including the teacher. I kick him under the table, and he laughs at me. A few weeks later, the day of the field trip, my best friend and I were there early for the bus to pick us up. It's a field trip to a massive hall convention where all the language classes are attending, to look at the different cultures and the food of around the world. My friend and one of her friends that takes French class with her walks together so me and him can go together. He arrives and stands next to me as none of his friends are there. The bus arrives and I get in first to see that it's a two-seater. I look to sit next to my best friend, but she bet me on it and sits next to her other friend and gives me an encouraging look for me and him to sit together. He walks past me and sits on an empty row at the back and calls me over. I had no choice but to sit with him since every other seat was occupied. He then takes my bag and puts it in the overhead lockers along with his. As he is reaching up, his shirt lifts up a little and I can see his weights. Damn, why do men have to have such slim little weights? It's so hot. The bus starts and the trip begins. I put on my earphones listening to music and looking out the window. But he looks over at me the whole time with me oblivious to knowing that. He looks down to my hand facing down, and he slowly but surely turns my head around, placing his on top and clasping them together. I feel warmth run through my body when I slowly feel his head rest on my shoulder. I feel fireworks exploding in my heart as I drift off with my head resting on his. I get awoken from my live dream by Mrs. Haddinson snapping her fingers in my ears saying, "All right, lovebirds, we haven't got all day, come on, chop chop." We both look at each other and blush, jumping up as he grabs my bag for me and rush out of the bus. The teacher gives everyone a piece of paper with the school's emergency number and sets everyone off to do what they want. I turn to look for my best friend, but she had vanished, leaving me with him.
Guess we're stuck together.
I immediately started walking, looking around the place to see some interesting food. I see a Spanish street food stand, so I walk closer to it, dragging him behind me. We get a plate full of food and go to sit down at a table, but there's none left, so we sit round the corner at a beach near the beach houses. It was quiet at the beginning, but then we started talking about how good the food is. When we finish, the conversation drifts over to him, apologizing for earlier and in the classroom.
I'm so sorry if I made you uncomfortable or anything.
It's cool you were just playing, right?
I mean, yeah, I honestly really enjoy your company and being around you.
Really?
Yeah. Wow, you really are beautiful.
I looked into his eyes confused and he stared at my lips. And just like that, he put his hand on my cheek and brought me closer to him.
Maybe not down that out here. We don't want to give everyone a free show, do we?
He picks me up and carries me to the small private changing room and locks the door behind him. He turns around and pushes me up against the wall, making out with me as he unbuttons his shirt. Damn, he hot. He takes off mine, revealing a red lace bra. He after makes his way down to my neck, leaving dark hickeys all over my chest and neck, marking what's his. He then rips my shorts off, and one thing leads to another. When we are done, he helps me up, but I can barely stand. So he cleans up the room, and we both start getting dressed when we hear a voice through the loudspeakers saying,
"Everyone attending the Language and Food Convention, please make your way to the buses."
We ran back to the buses to see everyone staring at me in disgust and disbelief. My hair was all messed up. I had makeup running down my face and my clothes half on. And he was still buttoning up his jeans, and not even to mention the hickeys and scratch marks on each other. My teacher scoffs.
"Disgusting! You two now get on the bus."
The class rushes. As we sat down on the same seat, I could feel people glancing back at us. My best friend turns around from the seat in front and gives me a punch on the arm, saying, "Damn you go, girl." When she had turned her back, he looked down at me as he put his arm around my waist, giving me a kiss on the lips. Guess what? 2 years have flown by and we're still together. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Subscribing helps support the channel and lets me know you want to see more content like this. Also, feel free to leave a comment down below with any video suggestions or just to say hi. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Love y'all!